intense, thrilling, electrifying sport on the planet. Mixed martial arts. You've been looking for the definitive podcast to call your new home to hear everything about it. The search is over. This is the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. Bringing you the hottest MMA breakdowns straight from the heart of the octagon. This show is all about MMA breakdowns. For fans, by fans. We're talking UFC, MMA, and the occasional big boxing match. We'll bring our unique take on how these fights are going to play out and who we think are the best bets. Welcome to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. And now your hosts, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and Emiliano, a.k.a. Jive Turkey Nano.
What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly Show, No Filter. I'm your host, Olin, a.k.a. MMAnomaly, and with me, as usual, is the co-host with the most, Jive Turkey Nano, my guy. It is Friday. We are almost through another fucking work week, and man, oh man, we're almost onto that Christmas break that we all look forward to every year in corporate America. How are you holding up in these last few weeks of Q4?
Sheesh, it's exactly that, man. It's a grind. The finish line is right there in front of us, so we're keeping our head down and just pushing through, my brother. But it is a great Friday. Happy Friday to you, my man, and happy Friday to all of y'all in the chat as well. We see you, WMC. We got who was it up here first? Lord of the Pies. What up, Lord? Lord's around. Yeah, man. Listen, it's going to be a great day, man, and a great episode. Can't wait to dive in with you.
Absolutely, my guy. And we have a hell of a final card on the ESPN era to talk about on this beautiful Friday. That's it, folks. This is the end, right? ESPN's been good to us. It's been, 6 years now, I believe, and it's been a fun ride. Obviously, the first year and a half, 2 years are always better than the rest because, people tend to care a little bit more about the product. And I can't wait for this reverberation, this refresher, if you will, with the switch to Paramount Plus. But play the sad violin one time for ESPN because it is over, folks. It is all over, as John Anik says. And with that, let's go ahead and talk about UFC Vegas 112. It is the last fabled fight card at the world's most famous Apex arena on the ESPN era, and it is headlined by flyweights Brandon Raw Dog Royval coming in against Manel Kape. Did you see, speaking of Kape, did you see Sean Shelby copping a feel on them titties at the stare downs?
Oh, I didn't know.
Everyone's talking shit about how Manel Kape's got the gyno titties, kind of like Israel Adesanya did, and those guys were like getting into it, and Sean Shelby's just like pushing him away at the chest. So it's funny. The jokes make themselves,
nice. Love to see it. Good form.
What up, Rob Rex? Let's fucking go. The boys always come clutch with content, and I liked UFC better on Spike TV than ESPN. Yeah, we all did. I mean, come on. It was a more gritty and masculine time back then. I think we all enjoyed the product a lot back then. Jeez, what's up, WMC? How you doing, man? And I had to call this out. This was funny as fuck. When your mouse is going out and you have to click go live 5 times and Nano gets tired of flexing. Not sure if anybody caught that at the opener.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny as hell.
I hope you did.
I was cackling, bro. I will be buying a new mouse today. Putting it on the company dollar, They didn't have any on the company website that we buy from. So I'll just buy that and then comp it, So with that being said, let's talk about this flyweight matchup, Nano, between Brandon Raw Dog Royval and Manel Kape. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one first and tell the people how you see this one going. Do you think Manel Kape comes out here and gets it done, or do you think Brandon Raw Dog Royval is coming to play spoiler on Saturday evening?
Ooh, baby, this is a fun one, man. Vegas, UFC 112, the finale, and there's some great narratives coming into this one. We're coming off a week where there is a new champion of the division, a new fly guy, if you will. And so these guys are coming in with a lot at stake. They know that they have a clear path to being that number one contender. And both of them certainly can make a case for it here come Saturday night. I am stoked for it, brother. This is good violence on good violence, highly skilled versus highly skilled, two of the best that the flyweights have to offer. So make sure you stay buckled in. It's going to be nothing but violence, man. I'm actually absolutely stoked. And I could see this going a couple ways, right? I do think someone like a Brandon Royval, 33 years old, he's 17-8 record, but 3-2 out of his last 5. One of those being to the ex-champion, the other one being to the current champion. So you can't really hold that against him. He's only lost to the top tier guys. And one win that definitely stands out is his win over Tatsuro Taira, right? That's somebody that's coming off an absolute dominant win over Brandon Moreno, who he also beat. All to say, this guy's a stud. Brandon Royval's no joke. He means business, and he's going to apply pressure for the full 25 minutes. He knows what that feels like, and that's typically his path to victory. Think of a Max Holloway. Think of somebody like a Mayweather that is coming in and looking to kill you with 1,000 cuts. He's not going to sit back and wait for the one big shot like a Manel Kape is more inclined to do. But both guys are skilled. Both guys have a lot of experience. And again, I think the forward pressure of Brandon Royval can certainly help him win the first couple rounds. But as it matures in the fight here, y'all, I'm worried, right? We saw what a Joshua Van did to him later stages there as he was getting one to give one. And if you're going to sit there and do that with a Manel Kape, I mean, brother, it's going to be a long night, man. How many leg kicks can you take? How many body shots can you handle? How many knees and elbows and just violence? How gritty can you get? That's really the question we're going to have to ask here, because Manel Kape's been on an absolute heater, 4-1 in his last 5, 32 years old. It's weird to think he's only a year younger than him, but same reach, even though he has a 4-inch disadvantage. So Manel's going to have, when it comes to at least the technique and no advantage when it comes to the striking distance. That's what I was trying to say. But man, his only loss to a Muhammad Mokaev, who's not even in the picture anymore. Other than that, all indicators are pointing for me for Manel Kape. He's the Ben favorite at -278. Only 44% of Tapology agrees with me. I think I'm torn picking against a Brandon Royval. Love his style. One of my dad's favorite fighters, but I just think Manel Kape's durability, I think his violence and his ability to find the finish, I'm thinking it's going to be like a 4th or 5th round finish here for Manel Kape, and that #1 contender status, and then potentially fighting either a Tatsuro or the champ Joshua Van. Pure violence would be in store there. But I won't be mad if Brandon Royval wins as well. Let's just call it what it is. How you feeling, brother? How do you see this one playing out?
Well, first and foremost, great breakdown, Nano. I'm going the opposite side of the spectrum here. I like Brandon Royval in this fight for a number of reasons, for a myriad of reasons, right? Manel Kape is a lock and load him kind of fighter, right? Like he locks up, he loads, and then boom, down the fucking pipe. He waits until you make a mistake. Whereas Brandon Royval fights very differently, right? Like one person waits for you to make a mistake, and the other person pushes you with so much pressure until you start to make mistakes. Right? One person looks for holes in your game. The other person creates holes in your game. And for me, Kape is one of these guys that like he beats who he's supposed to beat. And when push comes to shove, when he fights an Alessandro Pantoja, a Mateos Nicolau, or even a Kaya Sakura before then, Muhammad Mokaev comes to mind, he does get outpaced, right? And if you look at, again, who he's faced and who's actually giving him trouble, he lost a split decision to Mateos Nicolau. Was it a close fight? Yes. Did Manel Kape lose? Yes. Does Brandon Royval have a fight against the same guy? Yes. Did he knock him out in less than a round? Yes. Took less than 2 minutes for him to knock out Mateos Nicolau. The guy is a raw dog, as his name states. I think he goes out here and gets it done. I'm almost bullish enough to say that he gets it done inside the distance, though he hasn't really been on a tear as far as knockouts. He's gotten a couple of split decisions in his most recent outings that he's won against Tatsuro Taira, Mr. I Am Happy Thank You himself. I'm happy, thank you! And Brandon Moreno, the guy that he just beat. So I gotta go with Brandon Royval. I think he's fought the better opposition in recent years, and I think he's looked better doing it. And make no mistake, he beat Josh Van in that fight up until the last 7 seconds. He lost that fight in the last 7 seconds of the fight. That knockdown lost the fight for him. He should not have engaged in that game, and I think he's going to have learned his lesson and fight with a little bit more of a reserved style than what we're used to seeing from him. We are probably going to see the best version of Brandon Raw Dog Royval on Saturday, in my humble opinion. I think he gets it done. And as of right now, pick this kid up at +225 to get 3.25 back for 1 unit. Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing that for sure, brother. Yeah, I'm going to put 1 unit on Brandon Raw Dog Royval. I like him. I think he gets it done inside the distance, but I'm not hefty enough to bet on that when we have these juice of a line or this juice of a line on him for money line. I'm just going to take him at money line outright. Be a safer bet for me. And even that, it's volatile, right? Because every point and fact that Nano named about Kape is true. I just think that it's going to be an immovable object versus an unstoppable force, right? And we don't really know who's going to win. It's a very, very fair matchup. Great job by the matchmakers. They should give themselves a pat on the back. I'm also pretty sure me and Nano called for this one, so maybe they watched the show. Maybe give ourselves a pat on the back. And with that being said, we'll go and move on into featherweight for a bout between Giga Chikadze, which is a name I feel like we haven't really talked about a whole lot in recent history, coming in against 24-year-old Kevin Vallejos. My guy. I fucking love this fight from a stylistic standpoint. Kevin Vallejos is he's a real firecracker, right? I think he's a problem for most 145ers. And then you have Giga Chikadze, who has the Giga kick, right? Like, it's something that's fabled almost. Let's call a spade a spade. It's not a kick he invented. It is a round kick. It is a roundhouse, Muay Thai style, traditional kick. He just throws it with such veracity and force. And it shows, man. But I got to be honest with you when I say I think El Chino, Kevin Vallejos, gets it done out here on Saturday. And 90% of the 3,651 Tapology community picks are with me. I just think fighting out of Argentina, this guy has knockout power. 11 of his wins, 69% of them by way of knockout, 2 by submission, 13%, and the other 3 coming by way of decision at 19%. He is on an absolute tear. Last loss was to João Silva. It was a short notice fight in 2023. He has not lost since. Oh, and by the way, he's been active as fuck. He's won 5 fights since then, and he's had 8 fights scheduled since then and had 3 opponents pull out. Not on him, kid. I like this guy. I like him a lot. I feel bad for Giga Chikadze because he's definitely one of the cooler fighters I've met. Was willing to come from behind the chairs to do a stare down with me and got in my face, made it intimidating. But I just think as far as the fight game goes, he has the one weapon. It's the Giga kick, right? And we've seen what happens when he gets put on his back. He doesn't do well to get back to his feet. It accepts position too willingly of being on his back. And I think those are all a recipe for disaster. You add in your favorite stat, Nano, of the fact that there is more than a decade that separates these two in age. And for once, I got to go with the younger guy, man. I like Kevin Vallejos a lot. I'm even bullish enough to say I might be drafting him next season on fantasy after this fight.
Ooh, I like it, brother. It's definitely somebody that's on the radar, on a hot contender list, maybe a new up-and-comer. We got to have some ideas here as I'm spitballing. Gets me thinking. We're going to have a few weeks off, right? We are going to have almost a month off from UFC, so we can start preparing for the next year, and that's a good shout out, right? Kevin Vallejos is definitely somebody. If we're talking about the stock market, his stock is up and to the right, to the moon. I like El Chino a lot, brother. I'm riding with him on this one. You mentioned the age gap. You mentioned the tenacity. You mentioned the record here with a 16-1, 24 years old, and really his only loss is to a decision loss with João Silva. We're talking about freaking fighting nerd over here. Dude, that just puts people to sleep. One of the scariest guys in the division, even coming off that loss. I mean, that's crazy. He took him to a decision. He looked good. He looked competitive. And I think that's the one thing that stands out with me and Kevin Vallejos' style. Really clean technically when it comes to the boxing. Rips the body, will chop at the legs, has the wrestling background, is strong. When you look at him, he's well built. And he is from Argentina, but he's got that Latin/Mexican style boxing to him. It's really tough in the pocket. Obviously, João Silva was able to connect more often than he was, but other than that, like I think he keeps his he's fundamentally sound. He keeps his posture. He moves really well. And with someone like Giga at this stage in his career, he's gonna have a hard time tracking him down. Like you mentioned, he's a great fighter, but has some holes, or just really has his infamous Giga kick. But other than that, I just, a past version of a Chikadze would be fantastic for Kevin Vallejos, but I just think he's just too good. I think the game's passing up Giga a little bit. And again, this is going to be, I think of a Cejudo Talbot type scenario here where just the younger, quicker, more athletic, stronger, and probably just more technically sound fighters are going to go out there and get it done. So I'm leaning with the odds here in Vegas, taking Kevin Vallejos, El Chino, to go out there and get it done. It's going to be a good
Chino.
one.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Jump into the comments a little bit before we go into the next one. Rob Rex said, watch some Mansers after some UFC. LOL. 9-year-old me loved it. Brother, you and me both. Man, I love Brandon so much, but a bad matchup than shorter guys gives him so much trouble. Kape remind me a lot of Van-like style. I'm rooting for Brandon, but I'll have Kape by KO on a ticket for sure. Not a bad move, Rob Rex. Definitely a good one to hedge there. What up, gangsters? What up, Grimes? How you doing, man? Hope you're having a great Friday. Has Kape beaten any elite fighters? No. That was my point. I don't think he has. Rob Rex says, I agree, Jive. Rooting for Brandon. I got Kape by KO in round 2 and 3, but I can see Brandon breaking him in a decision. Has Kape went 5 rounds before? I think he's only gone 5 rounds one time, and it wasn't great for him. I don't know who wins this fight, but I do agree the line is off. I see Kape fading late and Royval taking over with volume. 100%. Plus 255 is disrespectful, bro. I'm trying to lock that bet in ASAP. The lines are going to change, guys. I promise you. I thought Brandon was winning too. He might have beat Van if they had 2 more rounds of work also. Good call. 100%, bro. He was winning. He was picking up steam, but Van just caught him in the last 7 to 10 seconds. Grimy says, Robertson by decision and sub is my biggest bet. Oh, let's go. I like that. The double odds one, sub decision, is a good play for her. I don't think she gets a KO. Van beat Royval in the last 15 seconds of the fight. This Van championship doesn't sit right with me. Fair. I mean, but he did cause the break, right? It wasn't a freak accident like some people are saying. Andrew Nance, let's fucking go, my guy. Let's fucking go, you, dude. Hope you're having a great week. Lord of the Pies, he's good, but man, Pantoja was getting after it. He's such a devastating striker. Underrated brawler, 100%. Pantoja is one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated UFC champs of all time. I'll die on that hill, bro. He doesn't get talked about enough in the GOAT conversation. This is an obvious, unfortunate setback, but even so, he's a fucking stud, bro. He's a world breaker. Speaking of world breakers, let's go into the big boys. We have a middleweight bout to talk about between Cesar Almeida and Cezary Oleksiejczuk. What fun names to say, right? Cesar Almeida and Cezary Oleksiejczuk. We have one man fighting out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, and the other guy fighting out of Leszna, Poland. And I got to tell you, I'm going with the Polish power in this one. He's 25 years of age, coming in against 37, almost 38-year-old Cesar Almeida. Cecinha, as his nickname states. But, there's one elephant in the room we got to address here, Nano. Cezary Oleksiejczuk, he's the brother of another stud that started training with the Fighting Nerds. Talking about Michal Oleksiejczuk.
Michael?
Brother. And this guy is, I think, better, right? If you watch tape on him, which... this will be his UFC debut outside of the Contender Series where he beat Theo Hague in just 36 seconds, if you watch that. If you haven't, easy one to go back and watch a highlight of. It was 36 seconds. I'd imagine the whole highlight is the whole fight. Before then, he beat Tom Breeze. I don't know if you recognize that name. If you play EA UFC 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you probably do because he's still in every single one of those. He was a UFC fighter. He was actually really good. A lot of people thought that he potentially could be destined for greatness in the division or in the promotion. But ultimately he ended up losing via arm triangle in round 2 to Omari Akhmedov, the Wolverine, and got ejected from the UFC. But again, this guy having win over UFC caliber fighters before even making it to the UFC speaks volumes of him, right? And meanwhile, across from him in Cesar Almeida, you've got a guy who he's got knockout power, right? He's got 7 fights. Or 8 fights in total, 7 wins. 5 of those are by way of knockout for him. So great stuff. But he couldn't even knock out Ihor Polcheria. Right? And we've seen that guy get dropped like a fucking heavy sack of potatoes before. I got to go with the more crispy boxer. I got to go with Cezary Oleksiejczuk. And I got to tell you, if you watch tape on this guy, I would probably bet money on the fact that the first thing to stand out to you and the most dominant and prominent thing to stand out to you is his speed. How fast this guy moves for a fucking middleweight. He fights like a lightweight, bro. He's so fast. And I just think he's going to give a lot of problems to a Cesar Almeida. He's going to make him look like he's stuck in the mud, for lack of better words. Nato, am I sitting alone on my crazy man rocker here, or are we rocking with the same guy?
Oh, man, I loved hearing you break it down, brother. And I love the excitement here. And I love the little bit of nepotism going on. Shout out. I'm not above it, man. I'm going with little brother here. I'm going with Michael Lowe's little bro. And taking the same train as you, man. I like what I've seen from Cezary so far. Love the name, first off. But also the talent definitely jumps out on tape. And I think it's one of those things where that ability to move like he does, have the fighting IQ, be able to seek those finishes, whether it is just a savvy choke or landing the right left-hand counter. Everything about him, too, is just very squared, very balanced, which, again, allows him to be able to generate a lot of power in short distances, off a counter. Again, all of that jumps out on paper, and it translates into the UFC here. And I honestly, I'm a big fan of a Cesar Almeida. Really, really big fan of his art, his work, his pedigree, what he's been able to do thus far. But the 37 years of age definitely scares me. And you look at his split decision loss to Roman Kopylov. This feels like it might go a similar way. I think they'll both be in it to the end. I could see maybe a judge thinking he won a round if he can have enough significant damage, but I don't think he's gonna be able to catch Cezary clean enough to really land anything with a lot of impact. And Cezary's gonna have that ability to submit him, get him into a clinch, get some nasty knees and work done. So this will be a really fun, high technical fight here. It is right underneath the co-main event. I think that's for a reason. We're going to see two dogs getting after it. But I'm riding with you, brother. Give me Cezary for the victory.
Cezary, let's go. I love it, man. I fucking love it. And I love that we're both rocking with the same guy. I mean, he's currently sitting at minus 205. So I'm not sure I want to bet on him outright, but let's look at the winning method here. Let's see if we can get him as a inside the distance kind of play here, or just by knockout. Actually, I think it'd be fun. Let's see. Cezary.
Let's take a gander.
Oh, here we go. Cezary Oleksiejczuk by KO, TKO, or DQ plus 110. Yeah, we're gonna sprinkle on that. We do a half unit on it. It's the last ESPN card of the fucking era of possibly our history. I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited. It's another good time for us to win. I'm being completely honest.
History in the making.
I like it, man. And again, I genuinely think that his speed is just going to be a real differentiator and a real problem point for Cesar Almeida, who typically looks pretty slow and labored in there. This next one is probably the one I'm most torn on and the most excited about. I'm going to pour up a shot just to talk about this one, folks. Nano is going to take the lead on the breakdown, though. We're talking about a featherweight banger between Melquizael, Costa, and Morgan, the last pirate, Charriere. Man, this is just a fight night full of fun names, ain't it? Nano, how do you see this one going, my guy?
It is a fun night of names, and it's going to be a fun night of fighting. And this is a fun stylistic matchup as well, brother. I like both these guys. It was really hard for me to pick one. I think you could definitely make a case for the last pirate to seize his treasure and to find the secret booty, but not against the Dalmatian, not against Melky, man. I'm a really big fan of Melky. I like his skills. I like the winning streak he's on right now. 4 fights in a row, being able to find the finish, get multiple submissions, and weather the storm. I do think he's going to have the IQ here, Melky is, to not get into a slugfest with a Morgan Charriere, because we've seen what he does when he's in a phone booth, getting after it, throwing chigazos, if you will. He knocked out a Nate the Train about 4 months ago. That's top of mind. Knocked out a Gabriel Miranda. Knocked out a Manolo Zucchini. Hold the Zucchini. But again, some of those tough losses, like a Chepe Mariscal and a Nathaniel make me a little more fearful, in terms of taking Morgan in this one. Melky's style is vicious. He's dominant, and he's going to want to go out there and be violent. He has good enough striking, and again, he has the ground game to really, I think, just find a clear path to victory here. But this is a fun one, brother. And as you have your shot poured up, I got my Gatorade here. Some driving after this, but cheers to some good violence, and cheers to the comment section as well.
The comments are the best part of the show. Cheers to you guys. If you haven't already done so, like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications, and please keep those comments coming. Cheers.
I laughed at Lord of the Pies because the Bud Pirate just makes me think of, I think, was it, and I pronounce you Chuck and Larry? He's like, oh, it's like, you must be firefighting part-time because My dad said when you're or on your downtime, you're also a butt pirate.
Butt pirate. Slammed for booty. Pillaging for booty. Making the Walk also. Shout out Jax. If you're not already subscribed to Making the Walk, do yourself a favor and go subscribe to Making the Walk MMA.
Do it now.
Do it now. Come on. Hit the subscribe button. Come on. What are you doing?
Do it. What are you doing?
Come on. What are you doing? Come on. Don't be a fucking pussy.
Do it already.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? It's the best Arnold Schwarzenegger line of all time.
That's the best one.
Kindergarten cop. My daddy's a gynecologist and he stares at pussies all day. That's the best fucking shit.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's one of the best moments in movie history, dude. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
What does he do?
Oh, you said making Melky 100% not giving up any booty to the last pirate. Oh man. I'm going the opposite here, guys. I think he's going to give up so much booty. He's going to make this man feel like he's the first pirate all over again. I'm going with the pirate. I think he's going to be pillaging that booty all dang night, folks. Look, I know he's got less wins and more losses, but I also think that, I mean, genuinely, this dude is the thickest fucking featherweight in the division. He's built like a brick shit house. Lazy bed with the fire. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Jingle all the way. What was the superhero? What was the superhero's name in that?
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man.
Yep.
Turbo Man. I need to get this action figure for my son.
I need it now. Where's the Turbo
I need it
Man?
now. Put that cookie down.
Put that cookie down. Not Buster.
Put that cookie down. A kid I played baseball with and his dad. His dad was a gyno. We used to tell him he had the best job till he told us a lot of the women are coming in for issues. No, brother. So when I was in elementary school was probably when Kindergarten Cop came out, right? And I remember that line and I was like, dude, that is a sick job. Like, this dude does that all day? That's sick. And so legit, same situation. I talked to one of my buddies in class. His dad's a gynecologist. And he's like, well, my dad says for every one good one you see 9 really bad ones that make you never want to touch him again. And I'm like, that's the worst job in the fucking world, dog. That's terrible.
They don't tell you that part. Yeah. Oh, no.
Making the Walk says your Arnold and your Connor are probably your best impressions. Hey, my guy, I appreciate that. Let's fucking go. Come on, Jogs.
I know. I thought I have a good Arnold, but you got that shit down, baby.
Get to the fucking chopper. Come on.
Get down.
Get down. Oh, man. 100% make you turn gauge up. Dude, can we get a stat on that? I wonder what the percentage of gay men that are gynecologists is. I feel like it's probably pretty high.
It's not absolute zero. I know that.
Oh, man. The statistician in me is going wild right now for these numbers. So, yeah, going back to the fight, Morgan Charriere is built like a brick shit house. He is the thickest featherweight in the division right now, in my opinion. Just muscle on muscle. And he's very sound. He's very well-rounded. I think Melky is one of these guys where years ago, like, or if we look back maybe like 8 to 10 fights ago, he was a grappling machine. Like, he was a grappler's grappler, right? And then he kind of fell in love with the striking, which, guys, if you've just started watching UFC or MMA 3 years ago, you've probably never seen this. But this is a common occurrence, right? Like Justin Gaethje, collegiate wrestler, figured out he could knock people out, and he's like, takedowns, never heard of him. Like, that's how these guys end up turning, right? You ever heard of Tyquill? You know, Tyron Woodley? Collegiate, world-class wrestler. Made his way to the belt via wrestling. Got a knockout. Suddenly became a striker to the point to where he's now doing a boxing match. So Chris Weidman knocked out Anderson Silva. Suddenly he's a striker. Do I need to go on? Are you getting a trend here? So Melquizael Costa was a wrestler, and now he thinks he's a striker. And he's coming in here against a guy who, in my opinion, has better striking than him. Right? At least fundamentally. I will tell you the slicker, more flowy fighter is Melquizael Costa. The more fundamentally sound meat and potatoes kind of guy, as we like to say, is the last pirate, Morgan Charriere. All right? if he is commandeering a pirate ship, he's eating meat and potatoes all fucking day, and he's exuberating a meat and potatoes style of fighting. He's got good fundamental grappling. Melky doesn't do well on the back foot, and Morgan doesn't take a step back. Those are 3 things that if you add into a fucking pot and stir them up, brother, that is a recipe for disaster for our guy Melquizael Costa. And I think that he's probably going to drop this one. I mean, looking at the straight odds on this one, it's tough, right? Because Melquizael is, let's see here. Oh, how funny it moved him to the top. I hate when DraftKings does that. It's like, why did it move them around? Morgan Charriere is plus 250 right now. Melquizael Costa. Oh, no, that's decision. I was like, that can't be fucking right. It moved me back to the regular odds. What the fuck? DraftKings, get your shit together. Morgan Charriere is a plus 105 money line right now. And Melquizael Costa is a minus 125. This is damn near a pick'em, right?
Competitive.
So exactly this. You're getting Morgan at plus odds on my book now. For me, I mean, up until his last 2 fights when he's on that downhill trajectory, which we see most of these guys that retire too late go through, this is going to be one of those last times that we actually get this kid at plus odds. And I'll be honest, like a half unit to gross 1.02 back, I feel silly not doing it. So I'm going to sprinkle a half unit. I told myself, last card of the year, last card of the ESPN era. I'm going to go with my gut on these. I'm going to place all the bets that I feel are right. We're up multiple units, double digits this year. We're playing with house money, right? Worst case scenario, we end a couple units up. Best case scenario, we end a couple more units up. So the goal is to end a couple more units up. As of right now, I'm hitting Brandon Royval, money line plus 225. 1 unit will turn into 3.25. I'm hitting Cesare, Oleksiejczuk, TKO, KO, or DQ, putting a half unit on that to turn into 1.05. And then last but not least, so far, I am doing Morgan Charriere money line at half unit to win 1.02 back. It was a pick'em last night, which is crazy. Thank you for that insight, Grimy. It means there's a lot of money coming in on Melquizael Costa if it moved it that much, bro. We're getting him at plus 105 odds. What are people seeing that we're not? I mean, I don't know, dude. It's a lot of line shift.
Yeah,
but I'm taking the bait, bro. I'm falling for the trap. I think these other kids are wrong that are hammering the line on Melky. Sorry, you get an earmuff. I'm not talking about you.
Yeah, I did not sway the line myself, but I don't blame you, brother. Like you said, Morgan Charriere at plus odds is definitely appetizing. So there might be something there.
It just feels like a smart bet. Like if it was break even pick'em, I'd probably leave this one alone. It's a close fight. I could see it going either way. Melquizael does have paths to victory. I just think that his paths to victory are going to be a lot more unbeaten paths. You know, he's going to have to chart that territory, so to speak. Whereas Morgan Charriere, he's been here before. He's been against very similar style fighters, and I think he's got the right pedigree to get through this one, if you will. So with that, we move on into the heavyweight division for a bout between Kennedy and Nzechukwu, coming in against Marcus Buchecha. We continue on with the fun fucking names to say. My gosh, did the matchmakers were like, hey, last fight night on ESPN, let's just put all the fun names. Let's just do that. Yeah, let's do it. Nzechukwu, who's another funny, Buchecha. That's a fun name to say. Let's do that. Let's do that. They just pulled names out of a fucking hat. You got a guy that's got 7 fights going against a guy that has twice as many wins. Nano, I pass this to you first and ask you, how the fuck do you see this one going?
Man, this is going to be an absolute banger. I see this one being violence for as long as it lasts, and I think I see it with Kennedy Nzechukwu getting his hand raised. Big fan of Kennedy, man. I love what he's been doing, though. His track record isn't the best. The reality is both these guys are coming off a loss. I mean, Kennedy fell into the Walter heel hook. What are you going to do? And I think he did, at a minimum, drill in some jiu-jitsu classes after that, because that's his next opponent here. Marcus Buchecha is coming in with a checkered past as far as the wins and losses are concerned. He's 1-1 in the UFC, 5-2 record overall, a couple years older than a Kennedy Nzechukwu. And I think that's because he comes from that grappling background. He competed in more jiu-jitsu competitions and things like that. So he's obviously going to have that advantage, but all fights start on the feet. You know this, brother. And I think Kennedy can find a path to victory using his athleticism, his superior striking skills to really chop away at a Marcus Buchecha and find find a finish, if I'm being honest with you. I think he could put him out. Kennedy's sitting at a -130 currently. Again, I think he learned from his recent loss to a Walter Walker 4 months ago. Definitely added some of that to his training. I think he won't make that mistake again. But what do you think, brother? Am I going out on a limb here? Are you taking the jiu-jitsu, specialist, or are you taking Kennedy? What are we thinking?
Oh, man, this is a heavyweight bout, so it can go either way, right? I mean, we really don't know which way the pendulum is going to swing, but if I had to bank on it, I'd probably say that pendulum is going to swing in favor of Nzechukwu. And not only that, but I think the African Savage is probably going to go out there and get a knockout under his belt against a Marcus Buchecha. Buchecha, since joining the UFC, has had a checkered past at best. He's had one display against Martin Buday, and he got beat, right? Martin Buday is basically he's a beast in the UFC, but realistically, like, he's a good litmus test as to whether or not you belong in that heavyweight division. And Marcus Buchecha just could not find an opening in that fight. And it showed. He ended up losing a unanimous decision. He got dominated by him. And of course, right before that, he had a one FC fight against Amir Ali Akbari, and he won via RNC in round number 1. So he has submission paths to victory. But the issue is, if you go out there and you lose to a Martin Buday, who has okay grappling but not world class, and okay striking but not world class, and then you're upgrading to a guy that's got subpar grappling, but elite level fucking power and striking, I think you're probably going to have a very, very tough night at the office, man. I think Kennedy Nzechukwu is probably going to hold you off on the end of a right hook or just an up knee to the body that starts off a barrage to the face. So I got to go with Kennedy Nzechukwu, and I got to go with him early on inside the distance. I think he's probably going to get it done inside the first or second round here. And, am I betting on it? Probably not. I mean, -130 on Kennedy Nzechukwu. That's tough. Let's see what his knockout odds are. Maybe we do him by knockout here. +140. Juice is there.
Yeah, juicy.
Juice is there. Half unit turns into 1.2. All right, we're doing half unit on Kennedy Nzechukwu. Yeah, that's the way. We're going to do half unit on Kennedy Nzechukwu to win inside the distance, or sorry, by knockout. Could you imagine if he gets it done by submission? Whoever the fuck has that ticket, I just want to give them a hug. Not that they'll need it after that happens, because it's like +1,200. Oh, man. I'd take those odds all fucking day, kid. If I thought it was going to happen, but I don't. So let's go ahead and talk about this weird catch weight fight between King Green, formerly known as Bobby Green, and Lance Gibson Jr. And before we talk about the fight, shout out JJ. Good old Yelp days, homie. My fucking brother in the Instagram live chat right now. Let's go.
What up?
Wish I could pull your comment up on YouTube. If you come in the YouTube chat, I can pull your comments up on the screen. But love to see you here, my guy. Hope you're having a great fucking Friday. King Green and Lance Gibson Jr. I just don't know about this fight. It's a very weird one, Mano. Lance Gibson has just 10 fights under his professional career, whereas his opponent has 32 wins and 17 losses. The guy has more than 3 times as many wins and almost twice as many losses under his belt as the opposition that he faces in Lance Fearless Gibson. Lance is a finisher, right? He's got 44% of his wins by knockout, 33% of them by submission, and just a 22% little area of decision wins there. And he's coming off of 2 back-to-back wins in Muckleshoot Fight Night, which I've never heard of. Muckleshoot? That's a fun name. He got a KO 2 fights ago and a RNC 1 fight ago, both in round number 1. Now, I think that this is probably going to go one of 2 ways. Okay, I think either Lance beats him in the very first round via submission or knockout. Either way, he gets a finish in the first round, or King Bobby Green drags him into the deep waters and finishes him late in the second or early in the third round. Am I betting on this one? No, dude, I'm not a fucking psychopath. I am a psychopath, but I mean, maybe not this much. Lance Gibson is a plus 160. King Green is a minus 192. I am staying away from this one. I wouldn't touch this betting line even with Nano's dick. No chance, kids. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. But gun to my head, I'm taking Bobby Green, man. I got to go with the legacy fighters. I got to go with the old dogs, the old guard. He's only 9 years older, but he's edging 40. He's 1 year away from 40 years old. They have the same height. They have almost the same reach. There's about a 1 inch difference or deficit for King Bobby Green here. And I just don't think that Lance knows how to utilize that 1 inch enough for it to pay dividends or make that big of a difference. Right. So I got to go with King Green here. I think he's got the slicker striking. I think he's got far more experience to the tune of 4 times the number of fucking fights, 5 times the number of fights, actually. And I just think he's fought the better opposition. Right. Like, even if you only have 1 win and I have 17, I fought killers. You fought people that were there to be killed. There's a fucking difference in that, right? So I got to go with King Bobby Green on this one. I will not be betting on it, but I will be sitting on the edge of my couch, biting my nails as if I did. Nano, how do you see this one going? And do you think it is time for the curtain call for Bobby Green?
Oh, man. You nailed it on this one, brother. Great breakdown as always. I'll keep it short and sweet here because, yeah, I think this one has a lot of narratives to be played, and a lot of things will certainly come to play come Saturday night. Grimy wouldn't touch it. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. That means something there. I see it as an interesting matchup, right? We have somebody like a Lance Gibson Jr. who on tape seems like someone you want to root for. He's a lifelong martial artist, good character, has some good, exciting wins, but does have that one loss via TKO, which just really didn't look good. Got caught with the left hand. But other than that, I mean, yeah, 9-1 record, has a lot of things that are exciting. He looks athletic and explosive, and I think as long as he can maintain that good IQ and do it on the biggest stage, right? Because that's really the big thing here is he has little to no UFC octagon experience, and he's fighting against somebody like a Bobby King Green, or excuse me, just King Green, who has more fights in the UFC than he does in his pro and probably even amateur career, for being honest. So I just see that as an interesting matchup. King Green at this stage, I'm surprised he's the betting favorite. I thought, given the narrative coming into it, maybe they're trying to pump up a Lance Gibson Jr. I think that's the only reason why you make this kind of fight is maybe Lance is someone that the UFC looks highly to and wants to kind of do a changing of the guard, get a big notable win in his career, then skyrocket him. But also at the same time, maybe they're doing King Green a favor, right? Maybe they're just picking someone who answered the call. I don't know if this was a late notice fight or anything like that, but anyone willing to answer the bell and maybe get King Green on a good track again is maybe the also alternative narrative here. All stories aside, man, yeah, I got to see it to believe it. That's typically my motto, though we spoke about a prospect here earlier that doesn't have as much octagon experience. I like King Green. I think he has the boxing. He has everything besides potentially the chin, which will get tested. But I haven't seen Lance Gibson do it on the biggest stage yet. So the fact that DraftKings has King Green winning and just thinking about the matchup and what stories the UFC trying to tell, I think it's going to be King Green getting his hand raised and bouncing back. And maybe we'll see Lance Gibson again down the road, but should be a good show. Lego.
So I just realized something. Did you know that Lance Gibson's dad made his debut at UFC Lake Charles, Louisiana? A long, long time ago, Mr. Lance Gibson Sr.?
I did not.
And did you know that his mom is Julia Budd, the woman who lost her Bellator title to one Cyborg?
Ooh. So
he's from a fight family, so that actually makes me rethink a little bit here. Sure, he only has 10 fights, but his dad was a UFC fighter 2 decades ago, and his mom was a Bellator champion a decade ago. That's pretty fucking wild, kid.
So he might be getting the pump. This might be a good one to hedge then, even if
to put it into perspective, his dad made his debut on UFC 24.
So he's a prodigy. Nepotism.
He's a prodigy.
Let's get him at plus 160 then. If you like,
his dad had one fight in the UFC because this is before they did multi-fight contracts. Okay. So he fought for UFC 24. They didn't have a re-signing for him. And then he went back and fought for Shuto. He won his UFC fight in round 3 via a knee KO. And then he went on and won a majority decision in his next fight at Shuto. Then they brought him back for UFC 29, like fucking 5 events later. And he lost to Evan Tanner, who's a name you might recognize. And then he went back to Shuto and lost his final bout to Masanori Isuda via unanimous decision. So his dad's a beast, bro. Like, I mean, that's actually pretty fucking wild. The dude said he feels like it's been a long time coming to lace up these gloves. I'm actually looking forward to it now. Why are people saying Hill did nothing wrong when apparently he cheated and brought it all upon himself? Dude, that's actually my point. Were you at the Dust Up Shakedown this week? They were all going against me and I was trying to play devil's advocate, bro. I was like, okay, look, I get that she was trying to dry snitch or whatever the fuck he's saying, but was he in a relationship when he DM'd her? Because if so, she has the right to dry snitch. He was being a bad guy. Like, that's girl code, bro. Like, if you and me are homies, and or like you and your boy are talking, and his girl hits you up, you're gonna tell your boy? You're a bad friend, dog.
Facts.
Even if you don't know the guy, like you know of him, you know that they're together. Like, brother, hey, especially like, don't go out of your way. But if you run into that guy, be like, hey, just a heads up, dog. This is a situation. Joanna was standing her ground, bro. I'm all team Joanna on this one. I'm sorry. I'm not blindly following the dudes here. I can't do it. Making the walk was the one that proposed that question, by the way. I wanted to give him his shout out here. Curtain call for King Green? I think so after this fight. We already read that one. Damn, Black Beast is a plus 185 against Salsa Boy. Salsa Boy good, but D-Lu could put him out. Facts, bro. But I think Salsa Boy's a problem. He's not beating him. Derek Lewis isn't beating Salsa Boy. Facts, Rogue Strummer. Let's go. He will happily go to sleep face down on the mat. Yeah, 100%. The first father and son of the UFC? I believe so, bro. This could be a real story. Why are people saying Hill did nothing wrong? Yeah. So he said that one twice? Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this fight. 100% grimy. Yeah, he was definitely in that relationship with her. I remember seeing her on his podcast before that. Oh, then the dude's a scumbag. Like, you're happily taken, and you're sliding into another chick's DMs, especially as a famous dude. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, you know this is going to come back and bite you in the ass. Right. And then when it does, you do another podcast episode and try and make her seem like the bad guy? What do we even do? You just move past it, bro. Come on.
Tough look.
I can't, bro. I can't. Like, miss me with that bullshit. Like, the dude made a mistake. Just own up to the fact that you made a fucking mistake, kid. It is what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay? Speaking of that, let's go ahead and move on into a bout between Joanderson, Tubarão, Brito, and Isaac Thomson. This one is taking place at the 145-pound weight class of featherweight. Should be a bit of a banger. And Nano, I am curious to see how you see this one going, man. I mean, Joanderson Brito has been a real fucking nightmare, but Isaac Thomson looks to be possibly one of the next big guys here. I don't know that he's going to be able to get past the Joanderson, though. I think he drew a short stick for his debut here in the UFC, and I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great matchup. I definitely am rooting for an Isaac Thomson coming out of Australia, but fighting out of Sacramento. Big shout out. 23 years young, Team Alpha Male's newest up-and-coming prospect. But it's just UFC not doing him any favors here, getting a Joanderson Brito. I do like Joanderson a lot. I just feel like he has the skills, he has the toughness, and he has the pedigree here in the UFC to probably get the win. Whether it's by TKO, he has submissions in the UFC. Though he is coming off back-to-back losses. One of those was a split decision to a William Gomez, the Jaguar. And then obviously just a decision loss to a Pat Sabatini. So if you're going to beat this guy in Joanderson coming out of Chute Box, you got to go out there and be able to edge out a grindy, windy decision win over him. And I just don't know if Isaac Thomson, who I think is just a little too green around the gills, just, spring chicken, needs to mature a little bit, needs to go through that maturation process. He's 23 years young, y'all. Think about it, okay? And I think he'll showcase well, but to beat a Joanderson Brito, who's the minus 238 favorite, though I do see a lot of great talent and being technically sound and smart. Again, Joanderson's tough, man, and he's a more violent, well-rounded fighter, I think, at this stage. Even though he is coming in with the 7-year age gap, he's still only 30 years old. So he's in his prime. Let's call it what it is. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Maybe wrong again. What do you think, brother? How you seeing this one go down? The old bull versus the young buck. How do you see it?
I'll tell you right now. I see it going down in a very good way, in a very fun way. I see it going down in finish. I see Joanderson Brito coming out here and playing spoiler for the debuting opponent in Isaac Thomson. Like you said, like my heart wants Isaac Thomson to do well. He's an LFA stud. He's an up-and-comer. We always like to see these guys do well. But I just don't think the matchmakers did this kid any favors, right? And make no mistake, he is a kid going against a man. It's a 23-year-old fighting out of Sacramento coming in against a 30-year-old fighting out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. One man's got his boy strength. The other man's got his man strength. And I got to go with man strength in this one, being the old man myself on this show. I just think Turao, he's this guy that's able to go out there and get finishes in odd and tricky situations. Even a guy that's extremely tough to finish, like Jack Shore, gets a doctor stoppage on him, right? I'm not touching these straight odds because I don't think it's worth betting on him at minus odds. But I do think that if he gets this done, he'll get it done inside the distance. Whether it's by submission or knockout, Joanderson Brito is a finishing machine. He's got 41% of his wins, 7 of them, by knockout, and 47% of his wins, 8 of them, by submission. And just 2 decision wins, right? So if he gets it done inside the distance, you can get that at plus 110 odds right now. You put a half unit on that, you get 1.05 back in your pocket. And I personally like that. I think this is probably one of the better, less volatile bets of the night in what is the most volatile sports betting you can do, mixed martial arts. But again, I like the half unit on that one. So I'm going to add that one to the tally. I'm going to add that one to the list, and we're going to hammer that one home. Hey, the 10-7 MMA. My guys.
Lego.
You guys are doing fucking great. And I'm going to jump up to this other comment from earlier. Rogue Strummer. Is that JJ? Is that JJ? My guy. Let us know if that's you. Making the walk. Jack said, nothing about Jamal Hill says owning up to his mistakes. He's been fucking up in all areas for a while now. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. Lord of the Pie said, I believe Joanna threatened his girl, but she's emotional because she has feelings now. That's why you don't cheat. 100%, bro. Putting yourself in danger, your relationship in danger, and your loved one in danger, if you actually love them. Rob Rex says, I just don't think the UFC championship should be threatening to beat up any civilian, especially one that isn't there or had anything to do with it. I mean, fair, but if she's not there, it's also a blank threat. It's also a blank statement. Like, she's not actually threatening to do anything because the person's not there. She's just trying to put you on blast and get hype and cameras to start recording, which worked, and made a story out of it. Now, both fighters are far more relevant. Both fighters are in the limelight again, and neither fighter has fought in quite some time. At the end of the day, no media is bad media. No press is bad press. And they have been here. Let's go! There's JJ, my fucking guy.
Hey.
If that's you, then our other guy up here is a new subscriber. My guy, appreciate seeing you. Let's fucking go, Rogue Strummer.
Hell yeah, love it. Going rogue.
LOL Hill on his YouTube channel said they had nothing after one time, have drinks. He shot his shot and she turned him down. She even messaged him behind cool after. She was just drunk as fuck there. I mean, they posted the screenshots. He said he shot his shot. She invited him out to the hookah bar. He said, come back to my hotel. She sent him her coordinates. He didn't follow up. He didn't shoot his shot. He fumbled the bag. He showed interest and then got lazy. Okay, let's just call a spade here, boys. This is no filter after all. So yeah, miss me with that. I'm on Joanna's side here. I'm sorry. Making the Walk says, Brito has really disappointed me. He has amazing potential, but hasn't lived up to it. He better win with style points. I think he's going to, Jax. I think he's going to win your heart over again, my guy. Bad media if you're on the Epstein list. Fair
Point. Well said.
Fair, Alex Pip. But hey, playing devil's avocado, if you are not famous and then you are on the Epstein list, now you're famous. What you do with that fame is up to you. There's always a media spin. You know what I'm saying? And these These creeps will find a fucking way typically. Uncle Olin Cernano. Let's fucking go, Alex Pip. Love seeing you in here, my guy. Dynamite.
TNT. What up?
Oh man, that makes me think of what was that show in the 80s? Was it Good Times? Dynamite.
Maybe,
the fucking tall, skinny dude would always yell that line. It was fucking clutch, bro. So good. So with that, we're both leaning there. Joanderson Brito. He has let us down in the past, but not this time. Okay. And in the next bout, we're going to talk about an absolute banger in the 170-pound division. I mean, look, it's a legend in Yaroslav Amosov coming in against a UFC legend in the Haitian Persuasion, Neil Magny, or the Haitian Sensation. Now, Nano, I don't know if you know much about this Yaroslav Amosov guy, right? He's more of a Bellator fighter. I know that's not necessarily your biggest wheelhouse, but let me just tell you a story in case you haven't heard it, okay? And in case the rest of the viewers and listeners maybe haven't heard it. So this dude is fighting out of Kiev, Ukraine, which, you know, Kiev, Ukraine, famous place. Whenever the Ukraine war started, there was a old retired fighter pilot that got in his plane and shot down 6 of the enemy pilots, and they started calling him the Ghost of Kiev until he died. But aside from that lore, this guy is actually from there, a war-torn country, place that's under a lot of turmoil and under a lot of rubble from enemy attacks. And what did he do, Nano, after they got bombed in that city? Well, he put on his military uniform, and he went back, and he went and found his house, and he dug under pounds and pounds and pounds of concrete rubble until he found and uncovered his Bellator belt that was left there and buried in the rubble. So there's a video of this stud of a fighter in military kit crawling down into wreckage and arising via ladder with his fucking Bellator belt. It's like something out of a movie, Nano.
Literally.
Like, I got chills watching that video. I watched it again this morning before we went live.
Insane.
Like, he's a fucking beast. Like, speaking of dynamite, this dude is the dynamo, okay? And he's going to come out here and put it on Neil Magny, I think. Neil Magny, make no mistake about it, 31-13. The dude is an absolute problem. But the situation is this. Typically, when Neil Magny wins a fight, he's fighting someone that has a major deficit in experience. And while his opponent doesn't have as many total fights as him, he almost has as many wins at least, right? He's 28-1 to the 31-13 opposition of the Haitian sensation, Neil Magny. I just think Yaroslav Amosov, he brings too many tools to the table, right? If you look at people's tapology, more often than not, of those 3 lines, you know what 3 lines I'm talking about: knockout, decision, or knockout, submission, decision. One of those lines is really long, or 2 of those lines is really long, and you realize, okay, he's really good at subs, he's really good at decisions, not a knockout guy. Or he's really good at knockouts and subs, but if it goes the distance, kind of lackluster. Yeah, Dynamo is kind of a different cloth here, okay? Because 32% by KO, 39% by submission, 28% by decision, and he's only ever lost 1 fucking fight by knockout. He is one of, if not the most well-rounded professional fighter at this level of competition. And I think if he had even a semi-decent training camp that allows him to come in at the rate he usually does, Neil Magny hopefully packed a lunch. Because no matter how much of a UFC tenured veteran he is, it's going to be a tough fucking time for him. And I think Amosov is probably going to go out there and get it done inside the distance. He's going to put away someone like Neil Magny that is extremely tough to put away. And with that, he will put himself right into the top 10 after just 1 UFC fight. This guy has future champ written all over him, in my opinion, man. I'm going Amosov.
I like it, brother. I like it. And I'm glad we're on the same page here. And it looks like DraftKings is on our same side. -440 favorite is Yaroslav Amosov. And it is interesting because we've been talking a lot about, hey, especially me, my motto is like, hey, I want to see it before I believe it. You can go knock out all these dudes in your regional scene or in Bellator or wherever, but I need to see it in the big leagues. And I think this is one of those rare cases where I think everyone already knows. And it's like, if you know, you know, because when you turn on the tape, and obviously you already painted a great picture of his story. I mean, absolute one-of-one, true hero here in real life. And the dude has that edge to him. Like, he is well-rounded. He's one of those guys, even just like my one takeaway watching him was like, he does whatever he wants to fighters in there. Like, there's certain guys that can go out there and win by a certain style. You know, think of a Khabib that's just going to go out there and dominate you on the ground. And Alex Buchecha, who just wants to connect the left hand. Everyone has their specialty, but this guy, is rare in the sense that he can go out there and get the job done any way he wants. And he typically has control over his fighters and does a lot of great things. And I think it's that mixed with Neil Magny and where he's at in his career, though he is coming off back-to-back wins. I just think that Yaroslav's on a different level, 6 years of youth. And, you look at the Michael Moraleses, the Carlos Prateses that Neil Magny wasn't able to get the job done with. I think he's closer to those types of guys. Not saying he's necessarily the next Carlos Prates by any means, but I just don't see a lot of holes in his game. And I think he's strong enough, disciplined, determined, and going to go out there and find a path to victory. I mean, 28-1 is extremely impressive. And I think this is his opportunity to really get a big name in the division and then continue to take that momentum. We'll be talking about him a lot next year, 100%.
100%. And I gotta,
what up?
Hey, Giuliano Argenti. How you doing, brother? Amosov is going to lose, my friends, he says. I don't know, man.
Okay.
I don't know, man. Grimy said, Amosov lost to Jason Jackson by KO. Well, you know what, brother? I'm here to talk to you, okay? Because Jason Jackson also knocked out Ray Cooper III, who is a fucking beast. Okay, he also has a unanimous decision win over Douglas Lima, the guy that dominated MVP and made it look easy. Jason Jackson's not a slub, bro. He's not a slob. He's somebody that almost knocked out fucking Rockhold back when Rockhold was in his prime, just now moving over to that shithouse gym in South Florida. Yeah, I got to go Amosov here. I'm sorry, bro. Giuliano, good luck on your bet if you're betting against him, but we'll talk next week. I think Neil Magny is he's good, but he's on the wrong side of this fight. He drew the short straw on this one. With that, we move into probably the weirdest fight of the entire card, Nano. It is a very weird one between Sean Sharaf. I shot the sheriff. Coming in against Stephen Asplund, a man who is probably the most oddly shaped human being in the UFC that I've ever seen. This is just a weird fight, right? It's the smoke versus concrete. Even the nicknames are pretty odd here. I don't know if you remember Stephen Asplund. He's the guy that won his Dana White's Contender Series fight. And then directly after that said, Dana, put me in the UFC. I'll do anything you want. I'll suck your toes, bro. Like, it was the weirdest post-fight interview in Contender Series. But he got the contract, so maybe he did end up sucking Dana's toes. I don't know. Maybe he oiled them up first, since that's a thing. But I digress. I'm going with the weird-shaped guy here. I just think Asplund is as weirdly shaped as he is. He's got weird fucking power too, man. And I think he's probably going to go out here and put a little cracking and an ass whooping on Sean Sharaf. The smoke is probably going to get smoked. His most recent fight was against Junior Tafa, and he did just that. He went out and got smoked in 2 rounds. Stephen Concrete Asplund is, he's a finisher. Let's just call a spade here. Right? In his last 4 fights, all of them have been finishes. The issue is he was finished one of those times against a Denzel Freeman. Right? It happens. He got subbed. But when it comes to the striking, his last 3, he's 3 for 3. And all of them are by knockout. Standing TKO, punches and elbows, and punches and elbows. And I think we're probably going to get more of the same. It's just going to be a knockout for Stephen Asplund. I don't think it's going to be the prettiest display of mixed martial arts or the most skillful display of mixed martial arts, but by God, it's going to be a fun one, and we're going to see somebody catch a fucking body, folks. And as I pass it to Nano, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, smash that bell for notifications. You know the drill, folks. Cheers to you.
Salud. Appreciate y'all. And I'm drinking Gatorade, so it's okay to just stay hydrated and, do what you got to do. But if you're an adult and of age, Kape, I never heard either. But listen, man, this is a fun matchup. Yeah, we got 2 big dogs going in there, right? We got a Sean Sharaf, the smoke, who's always looking for the smoke and is willing to die on his shield, right? He's coming off a loss against a Junior Tafa about a year ago. Haven't seen him since then, so I wonder if the layoff is good. Fighting with Extreme Couture and fighting out of Santa Ana, California. Cali boy, what up? But unfortunately, man, it's a tough matchup for him. Though I do like his tats. I like the violence he goes in there with, that swagger. Stephen Asplund, a.k.a. Concrete, is the type of dude that you see in a bar just whooping everyone's ass. I think he has that extra edge to him. 5 years of youth, 27 years old. 6'5", 265. He's going to be a little bit bigger, a couple inches, about 20 pounds on his opponent, which isn't much, but he's a big boy and he moves well and he's got that edge to him. Like you said, the funny antics outside of the octagon, let's call it, definitely helps with the notoriety and helps him get these types of calls and matchups. But I do think on paper, this should be a fun one. Probably stay away from it from a betting perspective. I mean, you're getting Steven at minus 230. So though I do agree, anything can happen with these big boys when they're swinging and banging. So I don't know if I want to sprinkle any money because that's probably the most up in the air outcome or bet of the night. So I'm sticking clear of it and just enjoying the big boys fight. But it's going to be a fun one, brother. And that guy is weird. And shout out them toes.
Shout out them toes. Indeed. My guy. Shout out them fucking toes. Man. Yeah, it was a weird one. It was a very weird post-fight interview. But it worked. Like I said, it worked, man. And look, I'm going to call a spade here. We fucked up and skipped over a fight by accident. So anything can happen with these big boys. Jive turkey. Quotes out of context. I'll take quotes out of context for 500, Pat Sajak. My gosh. So yeah, we skipped over this Amanda Lemos versus Gillian Robertson fight. We're not sexist. It was a mistake.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting fight. Amanda Lemos has been on a bit of a fall. Gillian Robertson been on a bit of a tear. It's funny because like when I think of Gillian Robertson, I find myself, and I hate to admit this even, but I find myself thinking of her being this inconsistent fighter, this up and down trajectory fighter that we've thought was going to be great, and then she goes up and down, right? But that's simply not her anymore, is it? Like, she hasn't been that way in a very long time. She has truly grown into the nickname that she was given, the Savage, and become exactly that. She's on a tear. Since that loss to Tabitha Ricci back in 2023, she has not lost a fight. She's got wins over Poliana Viana, Michelle Waterson-Gomez, Luana Pinheiro, and Marina Rodriguez in the UFC. And then outside of the UFC, she picked up a quick little cheeky grappling win over Montana de la Rosa in Karate Combat in the pit. So I got to tell you, I think Gillian Robertson is primed for a victory in this one. I think she's probably going to pick it up easier than expected. She just puts people on their back and makes them look like a fish out of water. And I think she's probably going to look through more of the same to Amanda Lemos. Amanda Lemos, she's strong. She's a great striker. Kind of looks like Halle Berry in that MMA movie she did for Netflix a few years back. And you know, like we've all seen her. We've all rooted for her to some extent. But I just think timing wise, it's a perfect matchup for Gillian, and it's a terrible matchup for her opposition and Amanda Lemos. So I can see Amanda Lemos going out here and getting beat up. I know that Gillian Robertson is mostly a decision fighter, but I got to be honest with you. I think this one's going to be a finish. I think she's probably going to get like a key lock, something simple, or a Kimura. I could see it being a Kimura actually against somebody like an Amanda Lemos. How do you see this one playing out? Am I crazy here?
No, you're not crazy. I do think this is a fun matchup. It has a lot at stake. It's the prelim main event, if you will, but it also has a lot in terms of who's going to continue to climb the leaderboard and make a name for themselves, make themselves a potential contender for the strawweight division. Because Gillian Robertson, I mean, Gillian, the way she's trending here in the last few years, 4 fight wins in a row, potentially a 5th here on the horizon, 30 years young. And she's got that just dominant wrestling, that grappling, the gritty meat and potatoes striking. I think she's going to give Amanda Lemos a really tough time in there. Amanda Lemos is 2-3 in her last 5. Granted, she's fighting the best of the best, right? A Mackenzie Dern, who she beat, current champion. Weili Zhang, she lost to Averna Yandaroba via armbar. So the submission is definitely game, brother, like you mentioned. And then just a loss to Tatiana Suarez, who does have a similar grappling heavy style. And Amanda Lemos at 38 years old, 38 years young, I'll say, for these women, these gals. I don't know if you could teach a dog new tricks. right? And you could insert the word that I want to say there, but I'm going to be respectful, because at this stage in her career, is she going to develop that part of her game? And the answer is no. I'll answer it for you. So give me Gillian Robertson, give me GR here to go out there and get it done. And to your point, if you're going to sprinkle anything, because she's currently a minus 198 favorite in Gillian Robertson, maybe not the best odds, but if you want to take the under 2.5, you think she'll find the submission or even parlay something like that, not a bad play. I think she should get it done and continue to climb the rankings.
You can pick her up at inside the distance. So by decision by KO or submission at plus 130 right now.
I like it.
Yeah. So that would end up netting, let's see, for half a unit, you'd get 1.15 back. Not a bad play for your money there. I think it was Grimy. Let me scroll up quite a bit here. I think Grimy said earlier in the chat that he has a big bet on Gillian. Let's see. Robertson by sub or decision is his big bet.
Okay,
By sub or decision is minus 145, so that's safer money if I'm being honest.
Yeah, a little better odds.
I'm gonna be ballsy though. I'm gonna do plus 130. I think she gets it done inside the distance. I just think this is a bad matchup for her opponent, and I think she has the ability to make her opponent quit in there. Speaking of having the opponent or the ability to make their opponent quit in there, we're going into another women's MMA bout. This is in the 135-pound division between a fighter that I had the pleasure of meeting at International Fight Week, Luana Santos. What a beast. Coming in against Melissa Scare Croden. Her nickname is actually Scare, which is kind of crazy. I agree, Giuliano. Gillian is a lock. It just depends on how you want to take her. Like, if you want to put a heavy bet on her at Moneyline, definitely a lock. If you want to be a little bit more ballsy like us and do inside the distance, you can get plus odds on that. But yeah, I definitely think that is a lock. You got suspended for slapping Joanna and for Jamal, a noble cause and sacrifice. Giuliano said, yo, my prediction video got shadow banned and I'm under YouTube house arrest for another 26 hours. I think I'm just going to shoot another prediction video. MMAnomaly style. Let's go, dude.
There you go.
What up, Tone? Tone K. How you doing, man?
Tone, what up?
Yes, Gilly all day. Robertson pieced up Rodriguez. Her striking has looked a lot better. She might actually get the KO. Thank you. I could see it being a KO, but if it's not a KO, like, I don't know why. I feel like it's going to be the simplest of submissions, bro. I just think she's like a key lock, a Kimura, maybe even just like a seated guillotine while her opponent's trying to shoot in on her or move in on her. But I digress. Talking about this Luana Santos fight, I see more of the same, right? Like, I don't know a ton about Miss Melissa Croden. I did see her first UFC fight against Tainara Lesboa. She did go out there and get it done over Tainara. The Thai Panther, she made her look pretty sloppy in there. But hey, you know who made her look even worse? Luana Santos. That's who fought her before. So one person took 3 rounds to get it done, and the other person took 2. So I'm going to go with the person that only took 2 rounds to get it done. I'm going to go with Luana Santos. MMA math, doesn't always add up, but I got to tell you, I think Luana Santos is an absolute beast. I think that she's somebody who continues to get better every single outing that she has. And look, a loss to Casey O'Neill, not the worst thing in the world, especially when Casey O'Neill is firing on all cylinders. She's one of those girls that if the right version shows up, she's a world breaker, bro. She actually is. So I'm going Luana Santos here. I'm not going to be betting on this one. I don't love it from a betting perspective, just because it can go either way. I don't know enough about her opposition to really place a bet I feel confident in on this one. So I'm going to stay away from it from a betting line perspective. I also don't see any money line betting on it on DraftKings Sportsbooks, our trusted sportsbook. So yeah, staying away from this one. Not going to do any specific parlays or prop picks on this one, but I'll be enjoying it from a fan perspective, and I will be cheering for Luana Santos. Nano, what do you think? Am I wrong here, or are we both going for the same gal?
Going for the same gal. We like Luana Santos here for sure. Riding that wave. -142 favorite currently. She's got the youth on her side. She's 25 years young, going up against her opponent, Melissa Croden. And that's Scare Croden. It took me a while to catch that, but Scarecrow. So shout out.
Scare Croden. Oh, that makes it a way better name. Thank you.
Yeah. So definitely appreciate that. 9 years older, so typically the scale is going to lean for the younger fighter. And I like Luana Santos. She's got a 9-2 record. Her only blemish was a loss to a Casey O'Neill a little over a year ago, where she looked good, but again, she was 24 at the time. Just really needed to develop and work on some of the parts of her game. I think she was too willing to accept some of the positions that were not favorable for her. So when it comes to that control time and maybe even just taking that extra second to breathe, it's like, no, you need to have more urgency. You need to be the aggressor. You need to win the eyeball test if you're going to go to a decision. So that was a big lesson learned for Luana Santos, but I think she has all the skills. But I agree with Giuliano here, Jew, in some ways. Though she has all the great experience and everything's trending her direction, not necessarily a lock, right? I'm not too familiar with the Melissa Scare Croden either, but when you turn on the tape, she's big. She tends to use her length and her size as a part of her game, just resting on her opponents, really wearing them out. That's what scares me a little bit. If Luana Santos goes into deep waters, can she swim or is she going to sink? But I'm not going to bet against Vegas, and I'm not going to disagree with my girl, who I think is not bad to look at either. And Luana Santos, baby, let's go.
Let's go, baby. Luana Santos. Love it. Fucking love it, brother. And with that, we move on into the next fight of the night, which is between Alan Fry and Guilherme Pat. Man, this is going to be another fun heavyweight banger of a fight. Little bit of a weight difference between these guys, about 6 pounds, or according to their last weigh-ins at least. Guilherme Pat Kong, a.k.a. Going against AJ Fry, Alan Fry. Alan is the heavier guy. He's the bigger and also not necessarily the longer guy, right? Like he's shorter and he has a bit of a reach deficit from what I can see online here. I don't know a ton about these guys, if I'm being honest with you, right? Like Alan AJ Fry is making his debut after fighting and getting a TKO win, or I should say back stoppage wins. I mean, the guy's been laying out everybody they put in front of him. But if you look at the guy that's standing across from him and Guilherme Pat, I mean, this guy's a beast too, right? Like he's somebody that's been putting him away as well. Not nearly as consistently, right? Like he's got 4 out of his last 5 that were finishes, and the other one's a decision. Based off of just flat MMA math and not really having a ton of tape to go off of on these guys, other than their last LFA fight, which I watched the last RDC fight for Alan Fry and the last LFA fight for Guillermo Pat. I got to tell you, stylistically, Alan Fry looks like the better fighter. He looks faster. He looks stronger. And the noticeable thing is he looks bigger, right? Like he's on the scale. He's almost 10 pounds heavier. And in the octagon or in the cage that he's fought in, he looks bigger. He fights bigger, if that makes sense. He fights longer. So I just think even if he has a little bit of a height and reach deficit, the way in which he throws really tight, compact shots, and they do a lot of damage. And I think that if Guillermo works his way in and gets sloppy even for just a second, he can find himself on the bad end or the wrong end of a knockout shot from Alan Fry. I'm going AJ here. I'm staying away from this one on a betting perspective, but I like Alan Fry. I think he gets it done. I think he has a hell of a debut. Nano, what are you thinking?
Going with the Fry guy, huh? This is a toss-up for me. I think I'm probably going to try to stay clear of it because, to your point, we just don't really have a lot of tape. We don't really have a lot to go off of for either of these guys, both making their UFC debut, but both have a great record, 5-0-6-0, 27 years old for an Alan Fry, a.k.a. AJ. I actually don't know how old Guillermo Kong, a.k.a. Guillermo Pat, a.k.a. Kong, maybe he's 27, maybe he is 12. I don't know how to factor that one in there, but he's going to be a little bit of a taller fighter, potentially have a longer reach. And though he keeps his hands down, he comes from that karate style background. So I do think and think of like a Michael Venom Page where he's jumping in and out, really sideways, really tricky stylistic fighter to match up with, especially if you don't come from that type of discipline. So maybe that's why he's a been favored at -180. I guess just to keep the people on their toes, I'll be a contrarian here, and I'll go with Guillermo, Pat. I'll go with a karate-style fighter and got a little bit more length, less athleticism, less explosion as a Alan Fry, aka AJ. Really like his twitchiness and his reactions, but I'm just going to lean with Vegas on this one and assume that the karate-style fighter is going to be a little bit harder to find range and timing with, and as the big boys do, it's unpredictable, and they'll probably end in the finish. So I'll be excited for as long as it lasts, but I'm going with Guillermo, Pat, on this one, man.
All right, man. All right. Going against me. I'm not mad at it, though. Like you said, not a lot of tape on this one, so it's pretty much a toss-up, right? For calling a spade a spade. No, with that being said, we go into the final fight of the night. It is a 125-pound women's fight. So women's flyweight between Jamie Lynn Horth and Teresa Bleda. Man. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one, Nano. How do you see this one going?
This is an interesting one. We're kicking off the card. It's been a fun one. It's been real. All good things come to an end, though, and we're going to end strong. And that's exactly what this matchup is. We got a Jamie Lynn Horth, the OG, triple OG, 35 years old, representing Canada with an 8-2 record, 3-2 in her last 5. So those have come more recently. Split decision over Veronica Hardy, took the L. And then Miranda Maverick, who, you know, the vibes there, Top Gun. You always got to ride with Maverick. So that makes sense. And she's been fighting some of the best here since she's been in the octagon. But is Teresa Bleda somebody that could come in unranked, has the youth on her side from the Czech Republic, 24 years young? Her only loss, her only blemish is a loss to a Natalia Silva, who did land a spinning back fist on her, was impressive. And Natalia Silva is continuing to trend the right direction, even though she did lose. Let's call it what it is. But we're not talking about Natalia right now. We're talking about our homegirl, Teresa. And I like Teresa. I like her style. She's got good grappling. She's got the youth, so she's going to be a little more explosive. I think she'll have more in the gas tank and have answers for anything that Jamie Lynn Horth ends up throwing her way. So she's a Ben favorite, -166. I think that's for a reason. I'm taking Teresa Bleda to go out there and give us some shades of razor blades and cut and beat up her opponent, Jamie Lynn Horth. And that's no offense to Canada. What are you thinking, brother? How are you seeing this one going down?
You know, it's funny on this one. I up until this exact moment, I was leaning Teresa Bleda. But I mean, the more I look at their resume and kind of their work history, I mean, brother, we're talking about a guy with a girl with 5 UFC fights versus a girl with 1, and everybody's leaning towards the chick with 1 fight. I don't know, man. I gotta go with 2 versus 5. I got to go with the girl that has 3 wins in the promotion, bro. I got to go Jamie Lynn Horth. She has wins over Ivana Petrovic, Vanessa Demopoulos, and Haley Cowan. Again, maybe not the greatest names in the world to beat, but she's also fought Miranda Maverick, like you said, bro. Like, come on. We got to go Fear the Maverick on that. And the other loss is to Veronica Hardy. Is Veronica Hardy the best women's fighter of all time? No. Is she sleeping next to one of the greatest minds in mixed martial arts of all time every night? Yeah. Does she get to pick that guy's brain every fight camp? Yeah. So when she does find a path to victory, it is no light thing, right? I just got to go Jamie Lynn Horth. I think she's the more well-rounded fighter. She has, again, 2 wins by submission, 2 wins by knockout, 3 wins by decision. She can get it done anywhere it goes. And the girl across from her, Teresa, like she is a beast. Don't get me wrong. Like she just has slightly less fights, very slightly, right? 7-1 versus 8-2. But when you're this young in your mixed martial arts professional career, even just 2 fights more, 3 fights more, they make a huge difference in the skill level and the skill deficit, like what you're going to go out there and face and what you're able to go out there and comfortably face. So I just genuinely think that unless Teresa Bleda goes out there and shuts out Jamie Lynn Horth, it is going to be a back and forth bout with a lot of different looks. And I just think Jamie Lynn Horth is the one that's seen these different looks a lot more often and should, by logic, be able to survive them and play those out in a better fashion. I'm going to take the dog in this one. I'm taking Jamie Lynn Horth going against the Blade, or against the Bleda, as we should say. 3,361 people voted on this one on Tapology, and only 19% of them are with me on Horth, okay? I'm not mad at it, bro. I'm not mad at it. I'm always happy to be in the minimal percentile. Typically, that's where I find my biggest wins. If odds open up on this one, who knows? I may post a little bet on Jamie Lynn Horth. But as of right now, we don't have live odds on it or money line odds, so I won't be pasting it today, but I will at a later date. Leandro said Alan Fry's hairy chest is definitely sound against the winter. Facts. He's going to have a skill advantage or a physicality advantage in that belt for sure. Tone says, I'm thinking Croden KO. Giuliano said, nah. Look, I'm thinking we're going to have a good fight either way. I don't know if it's going to be Croden KO, but I think it'll be a fun one. And folks, if you're placing any bets this weekend, let us know. We're going to wrap up the show right now. As soon as it wraps up, refresh the feed, leave your comments in the comment section below. Let us know who you're betting on. Let us know if you're tailing us on any of our bets. And if you do post your bets, there's a high likelihood that we will be tailing you, even if they're against our very own. So let us know in the comments below, post show, who you're betting on, who you think is a lock, and even if it's volatile, who are you riding with, folks? Let us know. If you haven't already done so, like, comment, subscribe, smash the bell for notifications. You know the fucking drill. And if you do nothing else at all, please do this.
You've been listening to the MMAnomaly Show. No filter. As you may have been able to tell, we dig the MMA, and our passion is to dive deep into the upcoming fights, give you our expert breakdowns, and help you make sense of all the chaos that is the fight game. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, make sure to find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at MMAnomaly. Be cool, and we'll see you next time.